Special meeting of Mount Isa City Council. The time is now 9:01 and I now declare the meeting open. First of all, as Mount Isa City Council acknowledges the Kalkadoons and the Interlingi people, the traditional custodians on the land in which we meet today, and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. And we extend that respect to any Indigenous people here today. Please note that this special meeting of the Mount Isa City Council may be live streamed and recorded in accordance with the Council's recording of council meetings policy. As a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in chambers, it is assumed that your consent is given if your image is inadvertently broadcast. That takes us to item number 2, which is the prayer, and I'll hand you over to Councillor McTully.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Lord, let the light of your divine wisdom direct our deliberations and decisions and shine forth in all the proceeding and acts of the Mount Isa City Council. May we seek to preserve peace and harmony, promote well-being in our city and continue to bring the blessings of good governance in the area of our responsibility. Lord, grant this prayer to us who work for the common good through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Councillor Tully. I believe we have no apologies or leave of absence, which takes us to item number 4, which is public participation. Do we have anyone in the gallery today who wanted to speak? No, that now takes us to item 5, and let me just get onto it. Would anyone like to move the officer's recommendation for 5.1, which is the minutes of the Miners Memorial Advisory Committee held on the 17th of February 2022?
I'll move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I'll move the recommendation that the minutes of the Miners Memorial Advisory Committee held on 17th of February 2022 be received, and that the following committee recommendations be resolved as follows. The recommendation MMAC MO1/02/22 be declined, with the advice that the Advisory Committee is to refer to the Council's Advisory Committee policy and Council's Advisory Committee terms of reference as adopted by Council. And that recommendation MMAC MO2/02/22 be noted. And that MMAC MO3/02/22 recommendation be included as part of the project consultation with CA Architects. And that recommendation MMAC MO4/02/22 be adopted, and all future documentation and promotion for that project use the name Mine Workers Memorial Advisory Committee. And that recommendation MMAC MO5/02/22 be considered in Council's development of the memorial. And that recommendation MMAC MO6/02/22 be adopted, and the Mount Isa City Council Mayor write to Mount Isa Mines to formally propose the initiative to Glencore for consideration. And that recommendation MMAC MO7/02/22 be noted, with the advice that round 2 of the Resources Community Infrastructure Fund is not feasible due to timelines.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second this motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on this motion?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. So the minutes of the Memorial Mine Workers Memorial Advisory Committee has come to Council. Earlier than this, we've sent it to the officers for due consideration against the operations of Council, and also our future aspirations for the Mine Workers Memorial Advisory Committee, and I'm happy to support the recommendations therein.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would anyone else want to speak on this or comment? No? All those in favour? And that's carried. That takes us to 5.2, which is the minutes of the Mount Isa 100 Year Celebration Advisory Committee held on the 15th of March. Would anyone like to move the officer's recommendation?
Sorry, I'm still trying to get...
25, yeah.
Here we go, sorry. Minutes of the Mount Isa 100 Years Celebration Advisory Committee held on the 15th of March 2022 be received, and the recommendations therein be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Councillor McRae, would you like to speak on behalf of this?
Yes, I feel that the main recommendation coming out of the meeting was that we invite a representative from Queensland Country Bank to join our committee. They nominated Karen Reid, so this is to formalise her joining the committee, and that's the main highlight of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. This takes us to item 6, which is declarations of conflicts of interest. Has anyone got any conflicts of interest with the agenda here today?
I have. I, Councillor Kim Coghlan, inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in item 9.1, which is the RCIF Round 2 funding application, being that I am the President of the Mount Isa Touch Association. Although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias due to being one of 15 facilities being proposed for upgrade. In this agenda item, we are also including the minor infrastructure funding for splashes, which is part of my portfolio. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Thanks. Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. I'll just go around the table and see what the response is from the councillors. Councillor McRae?
Yeah, quite happy for that. I'd like to move that, Councillor.
Oh, sorry.
Remain in
Yep.
the room.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't hear you, Councillor McRae. Can you just put the microphone up? Sorry, it's just my hearing.
I'd like to move that Councillor Coghlan remain in the room for this vote.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that
I'll second
motion?
that, through the chair.
Thank you, Councillor
you.
Fortune. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you. So 7.1 is the approval of the Chief Executive Officers for the North West Hospital and Health Board. Yep, that's fine. All right. That takes us now to actually item 7.1. Thank you, David Keenan. Okay, item 7.1 is the approval of the Chief Executive Officer to North West Hospital and Health Board. Would someone like to move that motion?
I would. I'd like to recommend that Council approve the Chief Executive Officer, Mr David Keenan, to take up the role of board member with the North West Hospital and Health Board.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Can I get a seconder for that
I'll
motion?
second that. Coghlan.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. Councillor McRae, would you like to speak on behalf of that motion?
Yeah, I would like to speak to that. I just think it's appropriate that we support our staff and allow them to have all opportunities for professional development and further their careers in order to have, happy staff and greater retention rates. It's not a paid position, so basically the main reason he would be doing it is for professional development, so I'm quite happy to support it.
Thank you. Any other comments on this?
Oh, look, I'd just like to reiterate what Councillor McRae said, but also it's very important that we have people like David who've got a wealth of experience on the board. I think he'll be a great addition for the hospital board, and I hope not only himself, but I do wish all the new hospital board members the best of luck, because there are issues out here in the Northwest with our health system. So I think people with the calibre of experience of David can only enhance how Mount Isa can go forward and all the regions around Mount Isa.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. Any other comments?
Yeah, just through the chair, I'd probably just like to make a point of the news article that was written in the Northwest Star regarding that council hadn't approved the CEO's appointment. I just like to, say that I was pretty concerned about it, about the media writing these sort of things. So,
Thank
That's
you,
it.
Councillor Tully. My only and it's more of a it's not a concern at all. It's more of a governance. Is that because it's a 3 days a fortnight commitment or 6 days a month commitment? Is it worth amending it so that ordinary meetings aren't changed or rescheduled due to the commitment of this, which would, I'm assuming someone else could step in, but just that we wouldn't be moving ordinary meetings with this commitment?
Through the chair, I'm sure that the CEO would realise that his primary role is here and that he wouldn't miss any ordinary meetings of council to attend the hospital board. I know their board, you are able to apologise as you are here, so I don't see there be any reason why the CEO would be missing ordinary meetings.
Right, so my question was, do we want to put any governance around that? Is no one, no? Everyone's happy?
I think we can treat the CEO as a professional.
Yeah, just through the chair, I just think we just keep an eye on it. I mean, if things, I mean, it's part of, our role as the CEO working for us. So I think we keep an eye on it, and if things do get out of hand, we'll, us as a group, sort that out then.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Is there any other comments?
Madam Mayor, I'll just point out there was a meeting of the hospital board today, I think, and so it's clearly that the CEO's remained here, so that's probably a good indicator.
Terrific. And it's really good to see that they have a female chair for the hospital board. I'm really happy about that. All right, so if there's no more comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, so that takes us now to item 8.1, which is our town proposal. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
Yeah, can I move, Madam Mayor?
Certainly
I'll
can.
move that council accept the proposal presented by our towns for $20,000 with collaborations from others, approached by Visage Productions directly, totalling $40,000 to produce the episode.
Thank you. Would someone like to second that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. So this group, Visage Productions, has been trying to get to Mount Isa for a number of years now. I believe they've offered us a very good deal here, with it partly shared by corporate investors. And it gives us really, really good exposure, I think, at the right time, if the episode will run when they say it will, which is later in 2022. They hope to incorporate such things as a rodeo, local businesses, the Isa Street Festival, and to get that footage included, and also to promote our 100 years throughout the episode is part of the plan as well. So there's high level discussion there in the paper, and yeah, I believe it's very worthwhile at that price. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I've got one bit of a concern with this. It's a lot of money, and the only time they're filming is around rodeo time. So is this basically to help promote the rodeo, or is it help to promote Mount Isa? Because Mount Isa's got a lot more to offer than just the rodeo.
Sorry. Through the chair, there was discussion at the 100 Years Committee about doing... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I
Is it
can't
on?
hear you.
I
Sorry.
don't get it any closer. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
There was discussion at 100 Years Committee that it would be great to engage some sort of publicity company to do some footage this year to promote the 100 years, leading up to the 100 years. And rodeo was the time suggested that there would be a lot of visitors in town with lots of different things happening. Maybe not specifically rodeo, but the business would be full and the town would be hustling. But like you, I am concerned at the price. I notice it has been reduced by 50% because they've gone and sourced 50% sponsorship elsewhere. I'm not sure if that only then gives us control of 50% of the content or not. And am I able to ask a question of Brian at this stage? Were we able to get any other quotes in comparison to that? Because I know the talk at the 100 Years where we were going to go out to similar production companies to see if they could quote, just to gauge comparison costings on this?
Maddie, our advertising and marketing officer, has done some preliminary checks or preliminary investigations in that area, where it's referenced in there. I think it was $6,000 to $15,000 biannually was to be spent on media footage and content. So this would be seen as a bit of a double-edged sword, where we get some great exposure as well as get some great media content. So that was it can be seen as a saving in the long run. If I can just go on to probably answer one concern also that was raised before from Councillor Coghlan, there has been time allocated for footage outside of the rodeo arena and outside of that specific activity on lifestyle and leisure, including the lake and sites in the area.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. I did read that for the $5,000 to $16,000, and my only concern was, I guess, how many people will actually see that, because, you know, you can get the likes of Channel 9 to do some sort of, you know, Today Show or whatever for 3,000 to 6,000, but if we get to own that content, that will be the main difference here. So if you find that that is good value and it will, then I'm happy to support it.
If I could say again through the chair, sorry.
Sure.
Exactly, that was a key consideration when we made the decision to move forward, was that we would own the content and we could use how we see fit, so that would be ours.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks,
Can I just
Councillor
add,
Craig.
through your chair, that my understanding would be that we'd have a briefing session with them prior to this, and we could elaborate on those concerns and ensure that they are captured. Would that be right? Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there's no more comments.
Yeah, sorry, just through the chair. I trust your decision, Brian, but I actually tried to Google this thing and I couldn't find anything.
I haven't gone to that extent to Google. I left that with my officer.
Can you just check, because there's nothing on Google about it. So I'm just
More than happy to get you some background, further
Because there
background
was
on our towns.
There was a series in 2017 and one in 21, and I can't find any of them.
Happy to take that on board and do a review, but
If there are, it might be worth following up on Google whether they've done.
any.
There's the Queensland Energy Resources and the Shire of Gladys, wherever that is. There's another one there from Swan, WA.
Yeah, so I'm just going to, I'm not going to vote on this. Thank you.
Okay, so
In the light of that, can we hold the vote over or carry this over, or what can we do there? Because obviously we want all the information before we vote on this.
well, I think we have to vote on it, but
There was a deadline within the coming weeks to move forward with the footage, that was all.
Is there any way we can do
Do it
like
now?
like a quick minute or whatever you call it? Because, I mean, it's up to you, but
did you
I'm
want
not
to
voting.
do a change it so that we're saying we approve it on the grounds that XYZ's met? Would that
Yep.
be easier?
Yep.
Yeah, would someone like to put
I'm not too
forward
sure,
the
but
amended motion?
I'll leave that up to David. I don't know.
Yeah, look, just through the chair, just comment from myself with the past experience that I've had with promotion of events and of marketing around destinations and things like that. Like $20,000 is very cheap, I think, for a 30-minute show on Mount Isa, and the reputation, I suppose, of Visage Productions. I haven't Googled them or anything like that. I would imagine for $20,000, Mount Isa City Council would be entering into a contractual arrangement and having some sort of control over the content and that sort of thing. So I think for $20,000, any sort of promotion of Mount Isa is money well spent, especially when you're getting out on Channel 7 with a potential of 65,000 viewers. So I think for $20,000 it'll be cheap, depending on the reputation of the producer, who I don't know. I think it's still money well spent. So I'll just add that in as my comment.
Yeah, and I think $20,000 is very cheap for as well, because it is very expensive. Okay, so should we go to a vote and see where we're up to? Yep. Councillor McRae, what would you like to do? Would we?
No, I moved.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor. I was sorry, Deputy Mayor.
Look, I think, given the lead into the 2023 year, I think we do need to make a decision today, and I'd really like to, support as I moved it clearly, so,
Yep.
I'd like to go with the vote. Thank you.
Okay then, thank you. And all those in favour? 1, 2, 3. And that's carried.
Can I just please have my vote that mine was against?
Did you want to do a
No,
division? Division? Which means that they'll say who voted for and who voted against?
have a divisional vote.
Yep, so who's against? Councillor McRae, Councillor Tully and Councillor Coughlin. Oh, and who's for? Is myself, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Stratton and Councillor Fortune. All right, and that is carried. So that takes us now to this one now takes us to 8.2, which is the Mount Isa City Council Enterprises Proprietary Limited, MICO subsidy. And would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
8.2.
It's on.
I'm happy to move, Madam
Yep,
Mayor,
thank
as soon as
you.
I can find it. I got it, yeah. Okay, I'll move that the council approves the May 2022 MICO subsidy payments be brought forward and paid before the end of April 2022 to cover any potential cash flow issues within the business for the remainder of the 2022 financial year.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah, sure, Madam Mayor. Due to the really slow start with the tourism season, the revenue coming in from various points isn't as high as we budgeted for. This won't make any changes to the amount that's underwriting MICO. This particular thing is just bringing forward a payment and to negate any potential cash flow issues going forward for the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? So last year it was agreed it was 1.5 million, and that's what we're providing early. Is that what you're saying?
That would be no change to that.
Yep.
That's the budgeted figure. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
1,550,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, through the chair. Oh, yeah, I don't think that's correct. I think that sum is right, but it's just in payments. So I think it's just a payment is brought forward.
Yeah, that's
We're not agreeing to the 1.5.
Okay,
We're agreeing to a payment being done early.
yeah. I think we're saying the same thing.
Well, we're not.
Okay, so we've committed to last year 1,550,000,
Yep.
and we drip feed that to
Yep.
MICO.
That's correct.
And what we're doing is we're giving a early payment
Yes.
through that would normally
That's right.
hold off.
Yep.
So is that better? Yep. Okay, got that one.
Sorry.
Any other questions? All right. Okay. All those in favour? And that's carried. All right, so that takes us now to 9.1, which is the RCIF Round 2 funding application. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tully.
That council endorse the drafting of a funding application to the Resource Community Infrastructure Fund Round 2 for the major infrastructure and placement of sporting facilities and the minor infrastructure installation of water playground at Splashes Aquatic Centre.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Councillor Tully, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I just think it's, sports, obviously struggling here in Mount Isa, and, for the livability of the town, I think, whatever help and whatever that council, jointly with grant funding, we can help. It'll certainly help with the town and, and try and boost our numbers more. Thank you.
Any other comments on this one?
I'd just like to have a comment on the project for the minor infrastructure. the installation of a water playground at Splashes Aquatic Centre. I think this is a really good initiative, and if we are successful, it can only enhance Splashes even further and make it even better for people with young families to visit Mount Isa and stay.
Thank you, councillor Coghlan. Any other comments? I guess just on transparency, there is a component of there with AFL, David, and I know you've put in for funding with AFL Queensland for 150,000, and as part of this grant, that 150,000 that comes from this grant matches that. Can you explain, just being transparent, can you just explain how that's going to work?
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So with the AFL Queensland grant that we have been awarded, we've been provided an extension of that grant until I think August next year. With that allows us to add additional third-party grant to this application. So it shows that we have the RCIF funding, but we can also say that we can put this AFL Queensland funding to that as well. So that's how we explain it. So the RCIF funding also supports the AFL Queensland funding. There is no Queensland, there is no council funding that will be added to that for that particular project.
Thank you. And if we were to fail, Mount Isa City Council would not be putting that 150,000 unless it went through an ordinary meeting. Can I just verify that?
So what would happen is it would come back to council, obviously, with the Capital Works program, and it is currently a line item for a Capital Works program. So that would be assessed again as we go through.
Yeah, but I just want to confirm that it would go through an ordinary meeting.
It's not a separate line item, yeah. So it's not. It would go through as your budget reviews. That's correct.
Okay. So, okay, thank you. And I guess for me, I've got a few, not concerns, but a few comments I'd like to sort of make with, and as someone who has played soccer for 30 years and still playing soccer, I'm always disappointed with the facilities at soccer, and in fact, I've seen third world countries that have better facilities than what's out at Mount Isa Soccer at the moment. But my concern with the application, and it is no doubt sports in Mount Isa are doing it extremely tough, and I think as a council, the best way we can support these sports is to review their rates and actually drastically reduce their rates so that they have long-term sustainability and continuity for really their expenses. And I think that's the best way Mount Isa City Council can support these sports. When we put in for an $8 million project, is it $8 million? I would love to see something that helps the entire community. And as much as I know sport is so important to Mount Isa, and this application has gone through before and been rejected. And that's my first concern, but my second concern is that we actually need a gigantic stadium ourselves where we could host the A-League, we could host the Cowboys come down for a game, we could have international quality lighting so that they could film a game here. We could have a huge clubhouse that, we do have state government land in front of Sports Parade that would be ample space for a giant oval with stadium seating, a clubhouse, and it could be a multi-purpose use facility. And I know that Mines would get behind this because it would benefit the whole entire community, and why I don't begrudge these sports getting new toilets and showers. These are things that these sports could apply for themselves through the ample grants that actually go through. So from my point of view, and why I will vote against this, is that I want to see something that benefits the entire of Mount Isa, So that's basically my, and if we had a stadium of that quality. We could host gala events as well. So there's a lot of pluses to having something that magnificent in Mount Isa, and we're not going anywhere for 100 years, so it's time we started looking at things like that. The other is with the splashes, and definitely it was my idea for the water slide, but it's not big enough. And as much as I love the one in Cloncurry, and I get that you don't need a lifeguard, we should be going bigger and better. We should have what Townsville has. We should have what the Big Four has in Caravan Park has. We should have something that is fantastic. You know, we're a city of 20,000 people, and don't get me wrong, I'll be happy with whatever we get, but this should be bigger than better than what we're putting up there. And I think we're missing out on an opportunity here. And they're just my thoughts, and I just wanted to explain why I will be voting against this motion. Okay.
Yeah, through the chair, I've got a comment there. I totally agree with your vision of having a grand stadium for Mount Isa. I think in future, possibly all of the sports that we're talking about today would probably benefit from that as well, and also, you know, most of them would. You know, it's a good thing to plan for in the future, but $8 million wouldn't get changed for a feasibility study on that. But that's further future thinking. The facilities that are proposed for this funding and the organisations that will benefit from it are numerous and goes right across our community. So our community will be benefiting greatly from this funding application, and I believe this time round we've got a reasonable chance. There's no guarantees in any funding application you'll get the funding, but I believe that we've got a reasonable chance of getting funding for the North West Queensland Soccer Zone, Mount Isa Rugby League, Mount Isa Hockey, Netball, Mount Isa Rugby Union, Mount Isa Touch Association, BMX Club, the Mount Isa Go-Kart Club, the Mount Isa Dirt Bike Club, Mount Isa Softball Association, the Camp Draft, Sikaran Martial Arts, Cricket and Little Athletics, and Mount Isa AFL. Now, all of those go right across our community, so I believe the entire community would be benefiting from this $8 million grant application, and agree with the comments about having something in the future for Mount Isa. That needs to be put on the table and discussed, and, you know, funding sought for that. But for this actual funding application, the RCIF, those sporting organisations are going, and the whole community is going to benefit from a positive outcome to this funding application. Fingers crossed that we'll get it.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune.
Yeah, through the chair, I just wish to concur with everything that Councillor Fortune said. And yeah, I do agree with your vision. That would be great to have that as a strategic direction for the future to plan for. But however, we needed shovel-ready projects. These are ready to go. And with our population, we're never going to have big fancy things that large cities have. But what makes our community great is the social fabric. And what is important to social fabric is sport and these sporting clubs. So I'm really happy to get behind them and support them.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we've all had a chance to say something. All right, all those in favour? And if you can put my vote as recorded as voting against this one. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. All right, that takes us now to item 9.2, and it is the RFT 2022-04 cleaning contract, Mount Isa City Council. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
I'll move, Madam Mayor. That council awards the RFT 2022/04 cleaning contract to Commercial Property Cleaning for the annual contract price of $268,523, GST included, according to the terms of the contract and scope of works for all council facilities for the period of 12 months commencing the 2nd of May 2022 with plus 12-month option.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Sorry, Deputy Mayor, would you like to comment on this one?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So this was a sought-through procurement. They received 4 tenders, this being the most appropriate tender, and just something that needs to be done, of course, for council across all our facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments? Okay. All those in favour? And that's carried. And that brings us to the end of this special council meeting. The time is now 9:36 a.m. and I now declare this meeting